of your Worcester Academy experience comes to bear in the work that you do now?
A lot. One of the things that happened to me at Worcester Academy, a lot of things at Worcester Academy, I give credit for being where I am and doing what I'm doing. One is, I had teachers that really cared and taught me, but really taught me how to write well and reading and writing. I want to tell you something. It's notwithstanding this looks like a mess. I'm just inundated with material, and so the ability to read and to comprehend, and to be able to pick out what's relevant. In my English classes and in my history classes, I think it's a skill. It really is a skill, and it's a skill that serves you in anything. But especially if you're doing something like this, and kind of the ability to communicate, to feel comfortable, and to be analytical was another thing. I loved history. I had great history teachers at Worcester Academy. I was a history major in college. I think Worcester Academy helped teach me that it's important to have a sense of history. And the other thing is, I don't know if you still do it, but we used to have these current event quizzes and lots of discussions all the time on really what's happening in the world. And we had classes were smaller, so you could actually have a conversation where everybody participates. And I kind of learned about my politics at Worcester Academy. I'll just give you when I was in 7th grade at Worcester Academy, it was 1972, and there was an election, and it was between Richard Nixon, who was the president, and George McGovern, who was a senator from South Dakota, who I thought had a good last name. So, but anyway, I liked McGovern more than was his name, because he was against the war in Vietnam, and because he was talking about all kinds of things that even as a 7th grader I thought were really good things to talk about: the environment and equal rights and all that kind of stuff, and peace, and I'd say 90% of my class was, at that time, was for Nixon. I was kind of out there, but we had great discussions during that campaign in all my classes, even my Latin class. We used to, and so I had to defend. We had a mock convention, Democratic convention at Worcester Academy, where everybody had to take a candidate and defend a candidate. So it was just, but I became very, very, very interested in politics in 7th grade. I volunteered at the local McGovern headquarters. I went around putting bumper stickers on people's cars, including those who didn't want them. I debated constantly, with my students about, and people were talking about it. And I never forget, on election night 1972, I listened to the results. I had a transistor radio. Listen to the results now. I should have kept it, and now it would be an antique, right? And I was listening to the results, and they were telling me Massachusetts returns, and McGovern's ahead here, McGovern's winning Worcester, McGovern's there, on and on, and he won overwhelmingly in Massachusetts, but he lost 49 other states. So, I felt like my part. But when I went to college, I came to college here at American University, and I wanted to get a job. I figured I'd go and see whether I could get an internship in his office. And when I walked in, he walked in at the same time. And so we got a chance to talk. And he I think didn't know what to say, because I was asking for an internship. And I was telling him it was Jim McGovern. He was probably thinking that, this must be a long-lost son or something. So he said, look, I'd like to have you start. Why not, And so I started as a volunteer and getting paid, but I worked in his office all the way through college, and I loved it. I used to make McGovern posters and stuff around here that I've had, But he is, to this day, one of my closest friends. We talk weekly. He's 88. And he came up for my 50th birthday party. And he gets up and he's, and he said, well, happy to wish Jim a happy birthday. When I was 50, I was the Democratic nominee to be President of the United States. I was like, I feel so inadequate. Not much. But I'm working with him on this global hunger initiative. And he's, when he was in the Senate, he spent a lot of time on hunger issues. And so I'm working with him. We're trying to figure out how to get a strategy in place for the administration to implement. But now that what happened with Worcester Academy, I mean, yeah.
Can you take me through how you got to this point? Just you mentioned that you started in a different McGovern's office, and then how did it?
It really, with luck, and kind of. I worked in George McGovern's office, and then McGovern lost in 1980, and I went to work for a congressman named Joe Moakley. Actually, I had a little stint in between working with the Ways and Means Committee here, and then then I heard there was a guy from Massachusetts, a congressman who was looking for somebody from Massachusetts, and so a friend talked to a friend, and I went to see Joe Moakley, who said, we'll hire you. And so, because I wanted to kind of get closer back to home, so I worked for him from 1982 to 1996. And I was his legislative director. I did all his press stuff, and I loved it. It was great. I mean, I get to do all kinds of things, including in 1989 when 6 Jesuit priests were murdered at the University of Central America in El Salvador. Moakley was asked to have the investigation, so I did the investigating. So I spent, a big part of